The world is changing. Hey everybody, welcome back to Whistle Thicket. Tom here. We at the farm are prepared for lots of things, almost anything. Why? Because we're homesteaders. We've been living this life for years now. We are pretty prepared for a lot of situations. I'm going to talk to you about what I think is about to happen. There's going to be a lot of people that are more interested in homesteading and self-sufficiency skills. Why? Because the world is changing, and we all know why. I'm going to talk about 10 ways that you can start homesteading and being more self-sufficient. Now, we, of course, are not 100% self-sufficient. We probably won't ever be, to tell you the truth, but there's things we do to make our life more prepared, because I'll tell you why we homestead, because we love it. I get bored very easily, and I also am an Eagle Scout, and I just like to be prepared. I like to be in control of what could happen. So I'm going to show you some easy ways to start homesteading. Some of this stuff may be common sense. Some of it might be new to you. So I hope you stay with me through this video, and we're going to talk about some easy ways to start homesteading right now. Probably the easiest way to start being more self-sufficient is grow something. Grow something edible that you can sustain yourself on. Lots of people, I think, are going to start making survival gardens. Here we just call it a garden, but a survival garden is something to think about. We grow lots of food for ourselves. We don't really sell food, but we grow a lot of varieties. I think last year I grew over 35 different types of plants, and then different varieties as well, just to keep my family fed, and also because, you know what, it is fun, it's enjoyable. I try to grow stuff that I can't get at the grocery store easily, or stuff that's expensive. Like, let me show you a plant that I'm talking about that is just starting to sprout. Here we go. This is rhubarb. And of course I got some weeding to do, but this here is a rhubarb plant. Can't really get this. Ooh, it's so beautiful. It's really hard to get rhubarb around here, but this plant is doing beautiful. Thank you, Miss Rhubarb. I'm sitting right by one of my beehives here. I'm going to be honest, beekeeping is not something you can just click your hands and do. There's a lot of learning. There's a learning curve. You really got to understand and learn how to be a beekeeper, but there's lots of people out there willing to help you. I make lots of beekeeping videos. Lots of other great channels out there do as well. But just think about it. Beekeeping makes honey, makes wax, makes propolis, makes bee bread, and honey is very valuable. Lots of studies on the health benefits of honey to keep viruses and diseases away, to help keep you healthy. And honey, you can trade honey, you can barter honey. That's what I love to do. I love to not just sell my honey, I love to barter my honey for other stuff I can use on my homestead. So beekeeping, that's another way to start homesteading, but I'm gonna be honest, it's probably not the easiest way to get into it. Here's my garlic sprouts coming up. Got a little weeding to do, get these weeds out of here. But you can see some garlic is starting to pop. There's a good example of garlic right there. Here's a very valuable skill that takes some learning. Learn how to drive a tractor and how to use all of the tractor implements. This tractor has really expanded my homestead skills, my wife's homestead skills, has really made life easier on the farm, opened up new possibilities. Again, you got to have a tractor to learn how to ride a tractor or drive a tractor, or maybe you don't. Maybe you have a friend that's willing to teach you some tractor skills. This is something you can use. This could be a side job for you. Let's say you're not able to go to your job for whatever reason. You may be able to use this tractor to make some money. And I tell you what, every day I'm learning something new with this tractor. Very valuable skill. Just a few years ago, I had never been on a tractor. Now I feel pretty confident in using it, and we have lots of implements that really make things easier on the farm. Fruit trees, that's a great way to get into homesteading. Just one tree can produce hundreds of pieces of fruit. This is one of our peach trees, and we have so much peaches that sometimes I just feed them to our pet pigs, to tell you the truth. We have tons and tons of peaches. We can them, we freeze them, we eat them. We make smoothies out of them. But just a single fruit tree, in some ways, is better than a garden, because yes, you gotta wait for that fruit tree. Sometimes you need several fruit tree varieties for cross-pollination, but you can get a lot of food from just one fruit tree. And guess what? You can save that fruit, you can barter it. Bartering may become more important in the days to come. So just think about, what can you not only sell on your homestead or from your homestead, what can you barter from your homestead? There's lots of skills out there, lots of things you can make. I'm working on my man shed so I can start doing some woodworking projects. I got a lot of things in mind on what I want to make. And really, it's not even for making money as much as bringing joy to myself and maybe bringing joy to other people. What else can we do to start homesteading today? Chicky, chicky, chicky. Hey girl, what you doing, girl? You beauty? She's a beauty. Egg factory. She's an egg factory. Having chickens, that's probably the #1 easiest way to get into homesteading. Well, no, I'm gonna tell you an even easier way in a minute. A free way. Chickens take time, they take money, you gotta have space, right? But chickens are egg factories. I mean, they really are. We have so many eggs, I don't know what to do with them. We just had 7 eggs for breakfast this morning. We make egg salad, we throw them in stuff we bake, we give some away. Eggs are a great source of protein, especially if you have a homestead where you're not raising animals for meat. You can raise chickens for eggs, quails for eggs, ducks, geese, lots of birds that you may not think about. And chickens, we feed our chickens, but I tell you what, we don't feed our chickens as much as you think, because our chickens are free range. We have our dogs out here to protect them. We haven't lost any chickens in about a year and a half, which I think that's pretty good. So again, in times of need, your chickens can just forage and free range and get most of what they need without even having to feed them. Yes, we do feed them, but not as much as you would think, because we give them the opportunity to spend the whole day foraging out here, foraging in the woods. They are fat, they are healthy, and I know that because they are making eggs nonstop. I have probably a dozen eggs there from yesterday and today that I need to harvest. We are up to here in eggs, and that is a good thing. We are on the edge of our woods. We got about 20 acres here, and 13 or so, 14 acres are mainly woods, but those woods are a valuable resource. That is a great way to get into homesteading. Even if you don't have any land, you can start to learn how to forage. There's lots of native plants all across America that have value. Firewood, no duh, but building materials like fence posts, bark for siding. I'm gonna hopefully side this old man shed in tulip poplar bark one day is my plan. And guess what? I got tulip poplars here that I can do that with. But lots of plants to learn about. So does anybody know what this is? This is dead nettle. I'm gonna do a video about dead nettle. This is a great plant to forage, even in your own backyard. Even if you live in an urban environment, a city, you can probably find food you can forage that you may not know is edible. Some of those plants were brought over here, like dandelions are a species that are not native to America, but they were brought over here as a food source, and people don't eat them. They just walk over them. Lots of native plants. Like for me, I'm starting an elderberry farm from native elderberry I found on my property. I propagated a bunch of elderberry. It's in the house. I'm gonna have 100 elderberry plants this year. They're already growing and sprouting and rooting, and there are literally potentially hundreds of species on my property that I'm still learning about. I make walnut syrup. Walnut syrup, yeah, that's crazy. There are lots of things you can do with a wooded property. And if you don't have a wooded property, you can learn how to forage in city parks and state parks, on country roads, on the side of roads. You just need to learn. That's the number one way to start homesteading, is get that knowledge base, because that knowledge base is gonna help you be successful for years to come. So in times of need, times of doubt, I think homesteaders are going to be prepared, because we've been prepared for years. Homesteaders aren't really freaking out. Even though the world is changing, I think the world is going to change, and people are going to appreciate the homestead life just a little bit more. Until next time, be good, do good, stay safe, and appreciate what you got.